had to get new headphones, new pretty much them little headphone speaker or mic, which actually works fairly well in the given circumstance. And I'm looking to soup up a a wind filter that'll work in a situation like this with the bike. But these earbud mics actually work fairly well. I'll still have to boost the audio and probably clean it up just a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it's better than bare audio, which I could probably do a comparison of both at one point. And I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. I wanted to make a quick video. This is a concept. It's just something that's occurring. Which is basically, it's always good to have one ear open if you're in public. Never want to be deaf to your surroundings. But the idea is that there's a kind of infiltration of beings who look like humans, but they are more or less imitators, and they don't have a human soul capacity. They cannot express compassion or emotion in that manner. And so the idea is that the war is over because we finished it before it began. Didn't have to happen. The goal, the solution, is and was to advance humanity as fast as possible and result in such a highly intelligent, compassionate, and spiritually aware race that no imitators, no secondary actors could actually suffice in infiltrating and taking any power, really. It's not complete, but that's the idea, the solution, the goal. That is to become so advanced that they couldn't imitate us. I hope they're throwing that container out. Nasty. I'm out back at a grocery store. Not the good kind. But that's the idea. That's what's happening. Now notice, if these beings try to just go around and have fun, be compassionate, express themselves, express artistically, it looks ridiculous. It looks like a bloodbath, or just like a never-ending mockery and debauchery of debauchery of trying to, it's a battle, it's a competition. It's basically animal DNA. So the civil aspect of just being social doesn't exist in that capacity that it does for people. And so if you have a person who's trying to pass themselves off as that, it becomes almost horrifyingly or ridiculously obvious that they're most uncomfortable doing what they're trying to convince you they are most comfortable doing. And that in that sense they are not what they seem to be representing or being, basically, or acting as if they are being. And they become actors, imposters, imitators. That's going to increase more and more. That's the devastation, the changes, the duality, crashing, basically. That's what's taking place. That's being exposed more and more. And for those who are part of the organic or human side, the originals, and original is a corrupt term because it denotes that there was a beginning and an end, but the true life here never began or ended. It simply always is or was, which is outside of time. Meaning that's why this place also is a simulation. It's in time. Anything in time is a simulation. As well, the beings who are imitators cannot comprehend that. It would be as if, I don't know how to describe it, it would be like a bacteria inside of our organism signing contracts and driving cars and like having a mortgage. Completely nonsensical. Well, these beings have no interest in realizing that they're not supposed to be here. Now, they can know that, but they can't truly comprehend what it means. Or, for instance, what it means to be beyond that, what it means to be human. They can't face it because it's not part of their organism. It's not like there's something to make fun of or something like that. It's just nature. That's why there are two natures, or two beings here. One is impressing upon the human race, and one is the human race. And the human race is eternal. It's neither original, nor created, nor whatever. It's an essence that stepped down from a higher vibration, a higher dimensional perspective. Sorry, I'm going in circles where I need to be going to the organic store over there. That's cool. But that's the idea, that they cannot see that there's something beyond this world. They can't see how to have energy by an act of generating the energy, basically on the soul level or through the spark of the divine spiritual essence. They have to take energy. It's a vampiric process. And so, again, that's just how they are. It's not like we have to do anything in terms of that. Although we can help, because it's a virus. It's a virus from taking too much energy. And if, for instance, whatever way that happens to somebody or a family or whatever, a group, then if they do that to another for enough time, or to the degree where it basically overwrites the other's true template, then that virus spreads and the other becomes a vampire. The one that is drained or fed on, if they're fed more than 50%, like some others have said, that there's an exchange process in the act of vampiric feeding. Okay, it's always an exchange. It's never just a draining. There's an exchange. All right. Like if people shake hands or something, they trade DNA with each other. So if it's an exchange more than that, then it could infect the other person to the point where it's sustained and they carry that vampiric essence. The other aspect is you would never believe some of these solutions, which basically is just crazy. Basically, it's beating death. If you can beat death, then you can beat the virus. How that goes about is insane, because in some methods of trying to achieve that, the virus is created. It's like a big cyclone of causality and paradoxes, or paradox, and there's always a solution, and the solution is sometimes to not have a solution by not having the problem, which is mentally another kind of causal paradox, but it's really not, because if it works, it works. And the layer of reality where that vampire virus becomes deleted, if you will, and it was never actually rooted in the anchor, meaning it was just a bunch of delusion, which is insane, but it means that the actions in history where people thought certain things were necessary or actually happening were just figments of our imagination in a way. And you can see how some of that is being made apparent with the way confirmation bias and memory confabulation and actual temporal operations can alter the perception of history, and once that's done, history itself is altered, because our DNA is what's resonating with our mind and our emotions to manifest the reality we exist within. The contextual agreement, the equilibrium of what we call past and future. It's a mental state now. Which is interesting because it's like a program. It's like a game, a simulation, a script, an equation. You can change it if you can figure the language of the equation or the script or the platform for the game or the program to be coded. And so, but the main idea is that it operates like a virus, kind of like checkers or something, jumping. If you jump too many or there's too much of an exchange at one vampire process, then what was jumped or what was overtaken becomes a vampire. It doesn't just become weakened, it becomes inverted, and then it must continue to feed in that way. But in that, the idea is that it can be solved, because this is where certain mythological aspects come into play, where basically, for instance, basically feeding on the one, the chosen one, the lamb, okay, would theoretically solve the vampire equation. Because if that one has all the soul essence of all creation, then it would be theoretically enough energy, enough quantum like backing power to that to cure every last vampire in existence. And how would that be done? By if you basically can get to the core vampire, the core in time. It means the originating source in time. If you can reverse that event in history, the rest of history is freed, liberated from that virus. It never happened then. It erases itself, it never existed. And so there's a whole, just to put that into perspective of how intense and complex these operations have been. It's very deep. It goes deeply, but in the end, it's just about compassion and holding strong and moving with the tides, basically, because that's part of how we exist anyway. But remember that the imitators, there's a healing plan, and as well, eventually they're going to have to go with the healing plan, because people are going to become so advanced, so spiritually awakened, that you would have to be a spiritually awakened human in order to fit in and make sense of it. And if you're not, it's going to stand out, and everyone on Earth is going to know it. Absolutely the chipmunks will know it. All right, the trees will look at you and be like, yeah, you got the virus, eh? Everyone will know. So keep that in mind. It's about it's not a war. It's about becoming so advanced that a war wouldn't be necessary, because it would only make their chances, it would only lessen their chances for control and dominance. It would only expose them that much more. That's how it's been done. Sounds weird, sounds quirky, kooky, funny, but that's what's been going on this whole time. While everybody bickers and asks questions and blames and wants to fight, and there's a little upset tummy because their vampire virus is acting up. No more. Feel good. It's gonna get brighter. All right.